Can we talk about those life skills coffee cart cafe delivery services? A simple way to make things more inclusive in your school, and it's time to bring back the hashtag, This is Not Inclusion. All of this and more on the video edition of the Weeklyish. Hi y'all, I'm Tim Villegas. You might not like what I have to say today, and that's okay because I'm going to try my very best to not shame anyone. So before we get into what I believe is the extremely ableist practice of coffee carts and delivery services, I want to say that this is coming from a place of love and wanting to make our educational practice better. And don't worry, I'll be suggesting some solutions. I'm not interested in teacher bashing. This week, I came across a piece of news from WTHR in Indiana about Greenwood Middle School. I'll quote directly from the news article so you know that this is not my language. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students with special needs are in a one-of-a-kind class that takes the learning outside of the classroom. They are part of the Woodman Cafe, named after the Greenwood mascot. The students make up a menu each week, then deliver order forms and pick them up at the end of the week. Each Monday, they make deliveries. It's part of the school corporation's QUEST program, which stands for Quality, Unique, Empowering Experiences that are student-centered and transformational. The school's speech pathologist came up with the idea a few years ago. Image: a student wearing a mask and gloves delivering treats to school staff with a peer looking on. Text reads: Middle school's cafe project takes learning outside the classroom. The Woodman Cafe is popular with school staff and the kids who participate. Credit WTHR. Now, you may be thinking, what's wrong with this, Tim? Don't you want students with disabilities to learn life skills? Yes, of course. But what about serving teachers during school when they're supposed to be learning grade level content is preparing them for life? A life of working in the service industry? Aren't you being a bit too idealistic, Tim? I mean, aren't they trying to be inclusive? Yes. Yes, I think they are. Which is why my focus is on doing better. There is nothing about this program that is really revolutionary or newsworthy. This kind of stuff happens all over in the name of inclusion, but it just doesn't pass the smell test to me. Just down the road from where I live, in my neighborhood middle school, students with intellectual disabilities deliver mail from the office throughout the school. Everybody loves it and feels great about it, including the students in the special education classrooms. But is this practice masking a real reform towards authentic inclusive education? When I was a special education teacher, I did things like reverse inclusion, where I would have a general education classroom join the students in my segregated classroom for a joint lesson. Sometimes I would take turns with the general education teacher teaching the lesson to the entire class. We did history, science, and math lessons together in one class. But this really wasn't inclusive education. But we were trying, and I didn't know what else to do. I felt like I needed to do something. In the same spirit, the existence of special cafes and delivery services are trying to do something, but are they really undermining the overall message of inclusion that we're desperately trying to convey? Image: students walking down an office hallway with a cart of coffee and treats for school staff. Students are wearing aprons with a Woodman Cafe logo, as well as face masks. Text reads: some of the students are mostly nonverbal. Since we're still in a pandemic, they're all wearing masks. But one look at the glimmer in their eye tells you it's service with a smile. Credit WTHR. Let's take the example of this middle school cafe. Everyone loves the Woodman Cafe, said their teacher, who said the class teaches these students essential skills they'll use their whole life. Not only are the students working on social skills, but they're working on following directions and just getting to interact with people who aren't just in our classroom all day. So the purpose of this cafe is to teach students essential skills they will use their whole life. Okay, great. They are going to work on social skills, following directions, aka compliance, and interact with people. And the key phrase here is interact with the people who aren't just in our classroom all day. Do you know a surefire way to facilitate interaction with students who aren't in a segregated special education classroom? Including students in age-appropriate classes. The very creation of this Woodman Cafe is based on the assumption that students with intellectual disabilities or autism don't belong in general education classrooms. And not only that, it communicates that the best people to interact with aren't their non-disabled peers, it's the school staff. This perpetuates the ableist belief systems inherent in our educational system. If you are too different or need more support with learning, you need to be taught special things in special places. More specifically, time is being spent during the instructional day, not learning grade level content, but essential life skills. My beef is not with the idea that life skills ought to be taught, but that these classes are designed only for students with intellectual disabilities in mind. All of our students need life skills. I have a middle schooler at home, and for one of his non-academic specials periods, he's learning how to cook simple meals. Why can't students with intellectual disabilities and autism also be included in those classes to learn alongside their peers? In the case of Woodman Cafe, why can't it be a joint effort among the entire school and open up the experience to all students with and without disabilities to learn life skills together? If our purpose is really to prepare students with significant disabilities to be included more in our society, what is a more powerful argument? That our students had experience serving treats and coffee to school staff? Or that our students worked collaboratively with their non-disabled peers to run a school cafe to benefit the entire school community? And look, I'm not the only one who thinks this is a bad idea. Here's Paula Kluth talking about those inclusive coffee carts that schools just love to have.
What's amazing to me is that these carts, these experiences are often positioned as inclusive. That's not inclusion. And so I've even started, I've been thinking about starting a hashtag. Hashtag, this is not inclusion. Because those kinds of experiences do not involve students with and without disabilities working together through these common goals and experiences, creating a community, experiencing community, etc.
Just so that I'm not reinventing the wheel, here are some suggestions from Paula on how we can make the coffee cart or cafe more inclusive. Involve students with and without disabilities. Collaborate with colleagues other than special education teachers. And focus on a range of competencies: handling money, goal setting, marketing. Later on in the video, Paula talks about how to make the lunchroom or school events more inclusive. And it all centers around planning for all students instead of making special places for students with disabilities. Here's the thing I want you to take away from this conversation. I see you and acknowledge that you are trying to make things better. When I was a special education teacher trying to promote inclusion in my school, I would sometimes feel judged by people who were farther along in their understanding of inclusive education. You see, ableism is so ingrained in our educational system, it's hard to see from the inside. But I'm here to tell you that there is a better way. And I believe in you. You can make great things happen in your school. Inclusive education is about planning for the success of all students, not just students with disabilities in separate and special places. If you ever want to talk about how you can make your school more inclusive, find more information at mcie.org or email me at tviegas@mcie.org. That's it for the video edition of the Weeklyish. I'm Tim Viegas. For more, subscribe to the Weeklyish, the newsletter for inclusionists, at weeklyish.substack.com. Want even more? Visit thinkinclusive.us, the official blog of MCIE. Please comment, like, and/or subscribe. Thank you for your time and attention, and remember, inclusion always works.